All right. Welcome, everybody. Please duck as you walk in front of the camera. There you go. There you go. Giselle, yeah, maybe turn that on, please. Thank you. I'm so happy that you've returned after lunch. How's your mind? How's your digestion? Are you ready to think of the most important combinations of your life? All right. I still have a couple of charts to print out. I know that. We have a little bit of time. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4. And Livy will make 5, wherever she may be.
Who's going to recommend Olivia?
Who will bell the cat? The old story about the mice getting together. It's a great idea to put a bell on the cat. Oh, and everybody agrees, you know. It's a marvelous idea. And then comes a little voice from somewhere, and who will bell the cat? You've heard of that, I'm sure. So we're going to divide. Fortunately, we don't have so many of us. Aha. Meow. All right, see ya. We decided to put a bell on you because you were late, see. Oh. So now, as we did on the first night, we will divide into groups somewhat evenly as we can. And the thing that you will do is, again, restate your ray structure, okay? But this is perhaps not so much a discussion of your ray structure as it is related to the expression of the soul and personality ray through the vehicles you think they express through, leaving one vehicle free. So you have to have a reason for why you think the soul may be expressing through a certain vehicle, why the personality may be expressing through a certain vehicle, what are the implications of leaving one vehicle free. I thought that was very interesting. You know, your astral reactions can do quite well without personality reactions, something of that nature, because the personality was not on the astral body for Foster Bailey. I thought that was very interesting. And then any particular problems of balance which you notice because of this particular configuration. In other words, how do you even this all out so it works very well? DK was giving many issues, wasn't he, about problems of balance, too many rays along one line and not along another. And even when there were sufficient rays to create balance, there wasn't necessarily balance. The whole idea is to create balance. See, now that I have a Libran conception ascendant, it's going to be all about balance, right? Yeah, Libra. I mean, that'll be the day, you know. That'll be the day. Okay, so please divide into groups, and pretty well that's what we're going to do for the remainder of the afternoon. Though we will come together for a short time, just to kind of round things off. I will visit you, I promise. So into your groups, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Surround one of these 5 people and work with them. Yes, Annabelle, yes?
The first night we were in another room, and so I don't have a group.
Okay, so any group will do. No problem. Any group. I call it the dinger. Humdinger. Well, it's so nice of you to return, and I'm sorry that we had to break in before everyone could finish. But this is a work in progress, is it not? And you see how subtle it is. So many questions do arise, and you do begin to realize, don't you, that the soul works through everything, and so does the personality. Of course, through everything, of course. That's the only way to achieve integration. But there are focal issues in any one incarnation, and maybe in any particular phase of an incarnation, when you want to be more specific about those two focuses. What I've been trying to, as I've been thinking about it, you know, there is a part of the personality that does pull away from the soul. We're not there yet when everything's totally lined up and beautiful. And it is that force center which forces the fires of the body to feed the lower centers. That's what the personality is called in Ray's initiations. He wouldn't put it in that very advanced book unless it was something to consider, would he? So there's always a lower part to the personality and a higher part. The higher part of the personality is so important that when you do the advanced fusion meditations on isolated unity, inclusive reason, and presented attributes, what emerges? The personality ray emerges. See, how interesting. Because already those are advanced meditations, but the personality ray emerges as a sub-ray of the soul. And it's the higher part of the personality ray that emerges, and it's incorporated within the soul expression. It's not the same as that part of the personality that's pulling away and driving the fires below the diaphragm and forward, and those fires feeding the lower centers. So always you have an opponent within you. And that's going to be part of the personality, and probably a particular vehicle in your system is involved in that opposition. And always the soul ray, using a vehicle, is going to try to lift everything up into illumination and a greater consciousness so that you feel more united with reality. And that opposition can be defined in your own nature. And then you can learn how to deal with it, to eliminate the opposition, and make what used to be an opponent a servant. Make the opponent the servant of the soul. And this can be done by an active will and by clarification of consciousness. So, we say, well, my numbers are this, bang, 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 but it's a subtle thing, what those numbers really are and what their interplay really is. And we have to meditate quite a bit. I mean, DK, his letters are incredibly subtle, really. If just think of how he chooses his words and why he says what he says and how he forces people to ponder. It's just not concrete mind ABC. He's giving you real food for thought. So when we look at our numbers, we have food for thought implicit within them. And we just can't say, well, now I'm, happy ever after, I've got my Ray formula. So what? You have your Ray formula, now what are you going to do with it? So we're trying to approach closer to that, what am I going to do with it phase. Once you have your numbers, it's very nice. DK remarked about that sense of satisfaction and relief when he had, that the people reacted with when he gave them their numbers. They were so happy to have their Ray numbers. Okay, that's great. But what were they going to do with it? And then the story really begins. That's when it begins. To make yourself into a server. What good is all this knowledge unless we increase our capacity to be of use to the master in the ashram? Are there any questions? Because what I think, the thing is that we're going to start before long tonight, and we have loads to do in these rooms. And you probably need a little break too, because we're going to have a big change of pace tonight. And we're getting into the conference proper. Maybe a whole lot of the occult work is done in this early part of the conference, but then more the group work and the solid field and the radiation and the variety, I must say, is accomplished during the conference proper. So are there any questions? Yes.
Question just regarding the Tara.
Yes, and I did speak about that a little bit. The Tara test will be ready shortly. There's hardly any batteries in there. This is gone. And Rick and I will make a presentation on that, but you can talk to us at any time. We'll be happy to arrange for you to take it.
I did the PIP, so.
Yes, you've done the PIP, and yes, and whenever you take the Tara takes you. That's what we've figured out after a while, It's a bit of an ordeal. It's a kind of a trial by fire, I took it and I enjoyed taking it, but my gosh, it made me think, It really did. Any questions? Other questions? Yes, Sherry. Yes, that is our requirement. So it's like, it's better to dive into a pool of water from 5 feet before you go to 50 feet, so. You just go online where Rick will give you the address and just start with PIP2 online. Yes. And we do ask for kind of an energy exchange there, kind of a donation, but if people don't have money, they can make a donation in some other way. It takes some money to keep this going. And we have to change PIP2 into PIP3 so that it's written in a new computer language which is understandable to others, because Rick, over the many, many years, has used his own computer language. And if he should go take a trip to the other side, no one's going to know what happened. So we have to we have to change that into communicable language. That's how he describes it to me. There was such freeze. That was a beautiful Virgo moment.
Oh, yes.
Did you see that? Those of you who are always doing things with your mouth as if you're trying to decide whether to take that in or not. Just look at, I don't know. Anyway, I see people with Virgo and Virgo decanates and Virgo subdecanates. They do that all the time. So anyway, don't be offended if I say freeze. You know, it's a compliment. It shows you're really displaying something. Okay. Any other questions? It is time. So, well, we want to thank you for attending. And yes, and you know, we have a yes, and you know, and we want to thank Livy for making a lot of this possible. You know, because she kind of got us going again here. You know, give the old Ray kick. You know, and it seems now to be a fairly integrated part of the conference because, you know, rays and astrology, they go together. So, and you can keep on advancing in both of them. So we'll see what the future brings. You know, probably we will definitely have our conferences in Phoenix, whether it will be here or not, we will see further. But, and next year is the 7th Ray Conference. So it should be well populated. Everybody wants to be on the 7th Ray, so, you know, they'll come. Okay, so before we leave, let us do the mantram of the new group of world servers. With an Om, the mantram, and then an Om. Excuse me. May the power of the one life pour through the group of all true servers. And may the love of the one soul characterize the lives of all who seek to aid the great ones. May we fulfill our part in the one work through self-forgetfulness, harmlessness, and right speech. That was so good. That was a jazz chord somewhere, you know. It had a nice seventh going there. Nice. Okay, everybody. So tonight we.
Silent auction items. If you have them, bring them here now or in the next couple hours.
This is the room for the silent
Yes,
auction.
and if you want to
yes?
help set up.
Yes, very good. Thank you. And okay.